locked down. Operation complete.
Yo, buddy. You still alive?
My pulse raced at the astounding accomplishments of the mercenary known as Demon Lord. I forgot about my job and read everything I had on hand. Around the time Demon Lord received his nickname, South Belka showed signs of weariness regarding the war. Because the region was set up as a defense line to protect the birthplace of Belka in the north, the people's dissatisfaction had reached a climax. The cities declared themselves demilitarized and peacefully surrendered to the Allied forces. Unable to establish a defensive position, the Belkan army kept retreating to the north. The end of the war was fast approaching. I was given an opportunity to interview the former aces of the Belkan Air Force. Back then, they were the masters of the sky, and they had also known him. So I crossed the border to follow his trail. I wanted to capture the war and the Demon Lord from their point of view, to capture the voices of those who were there. Rot Team Commander, former member of the Belkan Air Force, 2nd Air Division, 52nd Tactical Fighter Squadron, Detlef Fleischer, also known as the Red Swallow. With his skill and demeanor, he was practically a poster boy for the armed forces. Today, he is a professor of history at the University of Dinsmark.
Back then, I was bursting with pride. I wanted to lead us to victory, for Belka's honor. Staying where it was nice and warm wouldn't accomplish anything. My flight's mission was to maintain air superiority in Area B7R, an essential area that we couldn't allow to be violated. That day, when I heard the order from HQ for reinforcements, I became angry. The station force was in chaos because of just 2 mercenaries. There was no way the mighty Belkan Air Force could lose to mere mercenaries. My pride was shot, and the round table was defiled. What went wrong? Whatever it may be, the fact remains I was forced to walk a different path in life than the one I had envisioned.
Gelb Teams Number 2, former member of the Belkan Air Force, 5th Air Division, 23rd Tactical Fighter Squadron, Rainer Altman. He flew the skies of Directus during the capital's liberation, and he's still there to this day.
I met him above this very sky. I can still hear the sound of the missile alerts from that day. I received an order to fly to Directus on my way back from an intercept mission on the southern defense line. The order itself wasn't unusual. We kept being deployed from one mission to the next without receiving even the basic maintenance. But the situation was the same all around. We were late reaching the operational space. The station squadrons had already retreated, and warning bells were going off in the city. And the people were looking up to his plane, high above the sky. He pursued me relentlessly. As soon as I thought I'd shook him off, there he was again. The never-ending sound of the missile alerts put fear in my heart for the first time.
This man was head of the command group and was known as the Vulture. Schwartz Team Commander, Dominik Zubov, former member of the Belkan Air Force, 13th Night Fighter Air Division, 6th Tactical Fighter Squadron. He fled after the final battle in order to avoid prosecution for various war crimes. He is still on the run and being hunted as an escaped killer.
Sorry about the accommodations. Goes with the business. I'm not active during the day. Back then I was a shadow assassin, an escapee killer. Given the order, I'd even shoot down my own comrades. I received an order to take down deserting craft on that day. It was a typical assignment. But something unexpected happened. My target was no new recruit, but a top ace of the Belkan Air Force.
And he just had to go and run straight into the chaos at the round table. The man was sharp, just like the rumors. But that wasn't the problem. The problem was that the mercenary team of Solo Wing and him were there. Thanks to them, I lost my target. I figured the least I could do was take them down in return. Of course, that was where my luck ran out.
Every time I flew with him, his skill stood out. He was unstoppable. It didn't matter where the battlefield was. The man had complete trust in his own powers. He was born for battle. A demon lord who struck down all opposition. He paid no heed to the troubles of those who flew with him. Before long, everyone had taken notice of him. More and more would show up to watch him go off on sortie. Mercenaries or maintenance crew, it didn't matter. People wanted to burn his image to their memories. Hell, they weren't the only ones.
Target is in firing range. complete.
Yo, buddy. You still alive?
We were victorious in the B7R engagement. The round table is finally topped. Incidentally, the pilot in the F-14D was an enemy ace. He was personally responsible for shooting down dozens of our planes. Belkan is no longer a threat.
Bernard Schmidt, a man with the eyes of an owl. Groom Team Commander, former member of the Belkan Air Force. 10th Air Division, 8th Tactical Fighter Squadron. Fighting with distinguished service on the battlefield, he earned the title of Ace with his uncanny ability to adapt quickly to the flow of battle.
I had a bad feeling while I was flying towards the round table. Why were they having problems down in 2 mercenaries? I figured it was just temporary chaos and it'd be over by the time I got there. Pilots of the Belkan Air Force are true professionals, but when I saw the situation, I couldn't believe my eyes. I thought maybe my IFF was malfunctioning. There were still 2 enemies on the radar. Everyone else in my squadron had the same reaction. This is really happening. Every now and then, guys like that appear on a battlefield. Someone special, you know? I squinted my eyes and confirmed the situation. Checked the terrain, air currents, his plane, his maneuvers, and his remaining ammo. I figured I could do it. I knew what I was getting into, but he still outmaneuvered me beyond my expectation.
Schnee Team Commander, former member of the Belkan Air Force, 22nd Air Division, 4th Tactical Fighter Squadron. Eric Hillenbrand. He never had great ambitions. All he ever hoped for was to make a living as a regular pilot. Today he works as a flight instructor for civilian pilots.
The instant he shot me, I pulled the lever. I barely managed to escape from my plane as it burst into flames. After drifting from the blast, I landed below the round table. It was a wide-open, barren wasteland. How long would I have to wait for a rescue party? Radio interference within the round table was fierce. The odds of a distress signal actually reaching anyone was low. I was at a loss for what to do. Anyway, I'd really gone out with a bang this time. I took that as a sign it was time for me to retire. But just then, I heard a roaring overhead. It was his plane. I was jealous of his calm flying form. Rather than wait for the rescue team, I began to walk toward the nearest base. I was driven by desire to get back up there and fight him again. Of course, it did take me 3 days to get there.
Every time I flew with him, his skill stood out. He was unstoppable. He would ascertain the situation in an instant and change the tide of battle. He was born for combat. It was no wonder they called him a demon lord. That said, it was hell trying to keep up with him. Before long, everyone had taken notice of him. More and more would show up to watch him go off on sortie. Mercenaries or maintenance crew, it didn't matter. People wanted to burn his image to their memories. Hell, they weren't the only ones.
Multiple craft approaching. Something's wrong. Stay alert. Radar lock. Check on the target.
They're watching each other's positions. Better not divert from the team. Get out there. The rules will protect you.
The bandits are now in formation. Now's your chance.
Shooting, buddy.
Missile evaded. Bandits in gun range. Radar lock. Missile hit.
He's fighting clean. I'll show him he's only digging his own grave. Push on it now. See, we don't trust him. So that's ILS. It's even more.
Check on the target.
Don't lose sight of those enemy wingmen.
Approaching gun range.
Fox 2.
Missed.
Roger, let's see how they like this one.
Break missile. Bandits in gun range. Radar lock.
Go 2, Fox 2.
Missile off target. Missed. Radar lock. Warning, the enemy's tracking you on radar. Missile off target. Launch.
Yeah, Cipher just snagged a bandit. Report of the round team.
All targets within combat airspace are down. Operation complete.
Yo, buddy, you still alive?
Victorious in the B7R engagement. The round table is finally topped. According to our reports, the pilot in the F-4A that you engaged was an academy-trained ace. Well, now, you win this war.
Indigo Team Commander, former member of the Belkan Air Force, 7th Air Division, 51st Tactical Fighter Squadron, Dmitri Heinrich, an ace whose precision and grace in flying earned him the title of Blue Heron. Today he has his hands full with the family business.
Well, that day, right before I deployed, my airspace assignment was changed. Initially, my squadron was assigned to the stable Eastern Front. That was changed to Area B7R, the round table where casualties were recorded at a fearsome pace. It's also the place where I met him. It was just 2 planes, him and an Eagle. And yet our lead force didn't stand a chance against them. I could tell he was good, and it was going to be bad for us. But there was something else I noticed. He hesitated. A vulnerability that can be exploited. I was certain I would win. The pilot was still young. He had yet to master the rules of combat. But in the end, I was shot down.
Silver Team Commander, former member of the Belkan Air Force, 51st Air Division, 126th Tactical Fighter Squadron. Dietrich Kellerman. He was once the top ace at Belka and a fiery instructor at the Air Force Academy. In 1995, the Belkan Air Force sent him to the front lines to bolster troop morale.
He was good. From what I'd heard about him, I thought he was still just a young mercenary. But he matured since then. He still wasn't perfect, but I could see he had come a long way towards understanding the rules of combat. What's important on the battlefield is to let go of hate, to survive, and to adhere to the rules you've set for yourself. These are the rules I've taught my students. And when I saw him, I could tell my time was done. A new generation had inherited the sky. There was no more need for an old soldier like me.
Every time I flew with him, his skill stood out. He was unstoppable. He was cool-headed and proud. A combat professional. Demon Lord fit him perfectly. Maybe the man was blessed by the goddess of war. Before long, everyone had taken notice of him. More and more would show up to watch him go off on sortie. Mercenaries or maintenance crew, it didn't matter. People wanted to burn his image to their memories. Hell, they weren't the only ones.